So anyways, guys, while he's phoning it in here, welcome back to Two Fat Guys at the Movies. If you're watching this on YouTube, you're watching the short version, which will be basically to the point for you guys to watch. Toy Story 5. And I'm a grown-ass man, and there was a moment in this movie that made me kind of tear up a little bit. Whether or not it was actually meant to be that, you know, because, you know, of course, if you guys have watched any of these, you know that we do spoilers. And so there's a scene. The movie's basically about Jessie. Yeah, it's a Jessie focused movie. Jessie themed movie. It's focused on her story about her, kind of like how Woody was dealing with it.
It was basically more or less like a more in-depth of her story from Toy Story 2.
Right, because they kind of touched on like her kid and how her kid grew up, and then basically donated her, and
because you know it's one of the things
and she hadn't learned that, like, she learns the lesson in this movie where that, you know, that
your kids will grow up and they,
as long as you were there for that moment, you know, you're good. Yeah, I mean, I was expecting more like nostalgic hooking in this movie, and the only like nostalgic thing that they kind of did.
He did say like, you know, okay, basically in the beginning of the movie, you find all these like high-tech, you know, I think they can call them high-tech Buzz Lightyears. They have like Wi-Fi capability, all this, you know. I'm not gonna lie.
Want one?
If they made one, I would buy one.
Yeah,
as long as it was like $300-400, but then I was like, I don't need it.
Oh, I would get it for $300. I would still get it. You're talking about the guy who bought Optimus Prime.
Yeah,
for $500.
Anyways, basically, it's got a bit of like a side story until they actually meet up with like the other toys.
Yeah, they don't know their toys, and they start discovering that.
They did wonder why they all kind of collapsed. Because like when the security guard was coming around, they dropped. Why did we do that?
They're like, hey, we'll just avoid humans.
And then you know the OG Buzz explains, like, you guys are toys, but no, he said that you're. Oh, and he's not an agent of Zurg, and Zurg is her dad.
Yeah, and they're like, oh no.
No, but there was a Star Wars line in there, and I'm like,
God, I thought there was a Star Wars reference,
and I said no.
And I chuckled at it. Yep. So yeah, for those of you, you know, and ironically, as we walked out, these gentlemen, distinguished gentlemen, stopped us and said, "Was it any good?" Because, you know, obviously they saw us coming out of the theater carrying Buzz Lightyear, Toy Story popcorn did, and they just assumed that we went and saw Toy Story.
How dare
they assume our movie we saw? Anyways, and I was like, yeah, it was a sleeper, because the trailers, or at least the trailers I saw, I think I only saw one trailer for this movie, did not really show what this movie was about. The movie basically showed you like, oh, technology's coming in and taking over, which is true. But then the villain, and so, here's the thing, this movie doesn't have a villain. Like, Lily Pad's not a villain, she's just a technology. And even at a point in the movie, she realizes that she's actually hurting Bonnie, and she made a mistake, and then she donates herself. You know, and then Jessie ends up meeting older tech, which was, you know, like, do you remember those little cameras? Yeah, so, as you guys might have noticed, it's been a while since we did one of these, and that was just, I don't know, it was just me not wanting to do it, and, you know, usually we
lazy ass.
Lazy ass, yeah, there we go. Well, there you go, there's the title. What a lazy ass. No, honestly, it was funny thing is, like, I didn't really think anybody was watching these, which is crazy because, like, now, when they did Toy Story 4, I didn't think we could do it with the fourth one. And if I remember correctly, I liked it. I liked it. And this one, you could probably argue we didn't need a Toy Story 5. And somehow they made it work.
Yeah, they made it work. And
they made it emotional. Like,
also said that they say, like, they again, from the trailers, all you're thinking about is like, oh, it's technology. Technology's bad, which
I would argue a little bit for kids these days. It is probably a little bit.
No, but here's the thing: is the fact that I've said it many times before in the past, where like basically if like a 5-year-old doesn't have their own iPhone, they're not going to be a cool kid because like,
oh yeah, especially nowadays. I mean, oh god, you know, it's changed. It's changed up, I mean, drastically.
I could be like 10, 11, 12. I could still play G.I. Joes and Transformers and shit, and no one would bat an eye. Nowadays, if you're like 7, 8, like, what do you mean you don't have your own Xbox or PlayStation?